After years and years of begging and pleading, Sega has finally heard our prayers and gave our boy Majima a brand new solo game where he's a pirate now? These games just keep getting crazier and crazier, do they, man? So, in case you didn't know, this was recently announced at the RGG Summit, which is kind of like the Yakuza Direct, and we have quite a bit of information about the game itself. The story so far basically starts off with Majima not only being stranded on this unknown island, but he has no recollection of his memories. This is also where he meets a young boy called Noah who helps Majima out and plays the sidekick role in the game. At some point in the story, both Majima and Noah basically go on a pirate adventure to find a legendary treasure called the Lost Treasure of Esperanza and beat up some Yakuza pirates. To be honest, it sounds very goofy. In fact, this is probably the most goofiest game we have in the entire series. Although, it's a little debatable since a lot of the other games are pretty insane too, but for Majima, I actually really like this setup and find this to be pretty fitting for his character. I mean, if Kiryu can become a secret agent, then hell, Majima could be a pirate king and find the One Piece. Now, the gameplay is the one part of the game that really intrigues me, because for the first time in Yakuza / Like a Dragon, we can actually jump around in combat. So I hope this means that we can perform a bunch of fun air combos and all that where Majima can just launch enemies up to the sky and land a 50-hit combo like it's a Marvel vs. Capcom game. There's also two different styles, with his first one being the Mad Dog fighting style, where all of a sudden he can perform a Shadow Clone Jutsu apparently, and the other is called the Sea Dog style, where he can dual wield swords, use guns, throw boomerangs, and use grappling hooks to close the distance between enemies. I'm really looking forward to the combat because, sheesh man, this looks super fun. When it comes to the exploration, it seems like that we'll be on the open sea traveling to 3 different areas. Rich Island, Hawaii once again from Infinite Wealth, and Mad Atlantis, which is a spot where the pirates and gangs hang out at, which of course also has the Coliseum arena like in other games. Of course, it wouldn't be a Yakuza game without the silly crazy mini games and karaoke too, so we're pretty much covered there. Although I do hope we still get the Sega arcades too, that's always been the best part for me. Now that we got all that covered, I'm pretty excited about this game, especially since we actually have a standalone Majima title now, where it's all about him, which I've been wanting for years now. And to be honest, I haven't kept up with all the Yakuza games lately since I skipped out on Infinite Wealth because I wasn't a big fan of the RPG transition in 7. So I was kind of turned off from the series a little bit until Judgment and Lost Judgment came around, and those games basically reinvigorated my love for the series again. Gaiden was also a pretty fun time too, even if that one was a little short. Don't get me wrong though, I don't think Yakuza 7 or Infinite Wealth are bad games by any means. In fact, I actually do plan on going back to 7 again and getting my hands on Infinite Wealth to see how the new formula holds up to me. I just say all this to basically say that this is pretty much the most excited I've been for a Yakuza game since Kiwami 2. I can't wait to see what kind of crazy shenanigans that Majima is going to get himself into with this one. This also looks like to be the most experimental and ambitious entry that we have in the series so far. I imagine that this is obviously going to be a really large and expansive game that's just going to put a lot of heavy emphasis on the exploration. So outside of that new reveal, we also have the Yakuza Kiwami port for the Nintendo Switch, which honestly I'm kind of happy it's there, but I also kind of am a little confused as to why they didn't just put both Yakuza 0 and Kiwami together as like a bundle. I think it would have been really awesome to see 0 be playable on the go and stuff. I think that's really awesome, but you know, Kiwami is also a pretty good time too. So I'm glad that Nintendo fans are actually going to be able to get their feet wet with the series. So that's really cool. And I just hope that it does run well too, because, you know, the performance sometimes performances on certain games tend to be not the greatest on Switch, if I'm being blunt. But, you know, this one also just seems like a really cool little addition, and I might pick it up as well. Oh, also, I can't forget about the Yakuza live action that's supposedly coming out pretty soon. And I'm a little mixed on it, to be honest with you guys. I don't really know how to feel about it. The most we got so far is like a trailer. And I mean, this is one of those things to me where a live action Yakuza like series could definitely work. It definitely can. But the problem, like, the thing is like, is it going to work? and can the team actually be like confident enough to actually make this into like a show that's worth actually watching for both newcomers and fans? You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, when it comes to like live action stuff, for me, I've always just been, I think a lot of people in general just been on the fence about this type of stuff, but for me specifically, I've always been like turned off when I hear like, oh, this certain game franchise is getting a live action adaptation. It's just like, I really don't like that. I really hate when, you know, I know it's becoming more and more of a trend, and I get it. I understand why they do it now, but like when I see certain franchises and stuff get like live action adaptations or whatever, I'm always just like cringing. Like, it's just, I just don't, you know, I don't have faith in it, basically. I just don't always have a lot of faith in it. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that, like, video game live actions can't be good or anything like that, because there's definitely been some good ones out there, man. I mean, there's been a lot of great ones out there, so I'm not saying it can't happen. I just have to see it for myself, you know? Either way, man, we are eating good as Yakuza fans, and it's a really great time to be a fan. And if you haven't jumped in on the hype train, man, y'all definitely gotta get on this hype train. It's a really fun series filled with a lot of lovable characters, amazing gameplay, great stories behind them. I mean, this is pretty much the best time to get into the series, man. So yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comment sections about the recent announcements and everything, and I'll definitely be covering more about the game once we get a little bit more info about it. So until then, man, this was Kazak, and I'll see you guys on the next video.